Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GM Sports Report, your weekly podcast on all things sports where every play counts. I'm Grant, and I'm here with my co-host Mason as we get ready to cover the latest news, headlines, and upcoming events going on in the sports world. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see all things GM Sports Report. Mason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Grant. It's my favorite part of or just my favorite time of the year. We're getting into the Burr months.
Yeah.
College football starting. Baseball is really heating up, and NFL starts. This week. So I'm doing great, and I can't wait. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Like you said, NFL is starting this week, so we're going to be doing our annual NFL preview for the season. Very excited for that, and I'm
Annual.
ready to get right
Wow.
into it. So, with that being said, we're going to start out how we do every episode, and that is with our hot take of the week. So, Mason, I'll let you go ahead.
So my hot take is kind of more of a question. And mine is Ryan Williams being too hyped up? Is he overrated? 10 consecutive games without 100-yard receiving, 4 consecutive games without a touchdown, and his last 100-yard game was against Georgia, and his last touchdown was against Mercer. So Georgia was early in the season last year, if I remember correctly, and to kind of make things worse about this stat, he dropped the ball 3 times last week in a big game against FSU. So, yeah, he got hurt, but he got hurt after he dropped the ball, and he clearly dropped it. So, I don't know what to make of it. If it's just a media thing to where maybe he's not as good as the media is claiming, because we all know how we feel about the media. So, yeah, that's kind of my hot take is Ryan Williams overrated and being hyped up too much. So, yeah, I kind of leave that to everyone else to decide.
Yeah, comment down below what you guys think. If there's anyone out there that has an opinion on this, I think a lot of it comes from how young he was last
Mhm.
year. I think that was like the main thing that was the reason why media had been posted about him so much. You know, like an 18-year-old on Alabama.
He
That's
was
going to get a lot
17
of.
last year.
Or yeah, 17. Yeah, 17. He's 18
Yeah.
this year. So it was just crazy to see. I think he's still talented. I do see what you're
Yeah, yeah,
saying. He
yeah.
did have some big drops um, in that game, and we'll see what happens. You know, if he bounces back, he might be injured for a little bit here. He did get hit pretty hard, but yeah,
Mhm.
we'll keep an eye out on it, and it definitely is a question that needs to be asked. I feel so. I like it. My hot take stems from UNC getting absolutely killed by TCU last night. And man, that's just about Bill Belichick. This man is going out sad, if you ask me. And my hot take is Bill Belichick's legacy is Tom Brady and Lawrence Taylor.
Mm,
Outside of those
mm.
guys, not a whole lot of success in his career. We look at his record without Tom Brady as a head coach, and it's 83 and 104, and only one
Woo.
playoff win, and that was in 1994 against the Cleveland Browns. So I'm sorry, like I hate to be that guy, and I know everyone loves Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, but I really think that Bill Belichick got carried by those players. And as a defensive coordinator with the Giants, he had Lawrence Taylor, which got 2 Super Bowls with him. When you
Mhm.
have one of the best
Mhm.
defensive players in football, it's pretty easy to be a defensive coordinator. So that's all I'm gonna really say. I want you to kind of talk about it too, because I know you got some thoughts on it.
I'm
But
getting
yeah, that's
I'm
my
getting
hot take.
chills, bro. You could not have said that any better. Oh my gosh. So I'm so glad that you mentioned obviously the whole Patriots thing and like how his record without Tom Brady. But to go further back where people I don't think want to go as far back as to say, his defensive coordinator days when he was a younger coach. Um, with Lawrence Taylor, you had Carl Banks, who another one of the best linebackers, in my opinion, in the game, and just that whole defense, that whole Giants defense, it's hard not to succeed with guys like those, with them, So you win 2 Super Bowls, great, but it's like I said, you got Bill Parcells is one of the best coaches that on the Giants history. So it's just crazy, and I'm really excited to hear what people say. I know people have been ripping them apart, but when you start talking about legacy, that's when people kind of get amped up and like, oh, you're wrong and stuff like that. So Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, and just can't wait to see what people say.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so clear now. I mean, we saw like however many seasons it was after he left to go to the Buccaneers,
Mhm.
it essentially booted him out of the league, and
Mhm.
now he's with UNC, and they looked terrible last night. Like they looked like a JV football team against TCU last night. It was
It was bad.
terrible. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting, like you said, to see what this means for him and if this does affect his legacy.
Yep.
All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and go into our underdog of the week. So Mason, who is your underdog for this week?
Yeah, so mine is USF quarterback Byron Brown. He didn't put up, I'd say, crazy numbers that are like eye popping, but I don't think that you can look past the dog in that man. He's one of the most electric players I've seen in this past weekend, and I think we'll be hearing a lot out of him. He had one of the best quarterback run plays I think I've seen in college football, just in general. And yeah, I'm really interested to see what he can do next. Took down Boise State, who I don't think should have been ranked in the first place. I think everyone was kind of hyping them up. Ashton Genty leaves. That was the whole team last year. We all know that. There's no debate. I don't care what you say. He was the team. So Byron Brown gets that ranked win, and he's just electric. And like I said, I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, I like that pick. For my underdog of the week, I have to go with FSU beating Alabama
Hmm.
31-17. I mean, that's quite literally the definition of an underdog. So they went
Yep.
into that game. I was looking at ESPN. They had like a 6% chance to win that game according to ESPN's system. I don't know how they come up with those percentages, but that's what it was. And they pretty much dog walked Alabama that whole game. Alabama's quarterback looked terrible, and
Oh my gosh.
Castellanos for FSU looked really good. And I know you were a big fan of his last year when he was on Boston College. You talked about him a few times. And he's looking really good, way better than
Hmm.
DJ, the guy they had last year. So,
DJ
FSU
Gallo.
might be back. That had to be my underdog of the week, though.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot because obviously they had a 2-10 season last year, and coming off of a 13-0 season just the year before with Jordan Travis, and not making the college football playoff, which is insane, and I think that will be one of the biggest talks about in FSU history. But Tommy Castellanos, he is a guy that I think embodies the FSU culture. You go into a game, no, all off season, he said Saban can't help you now. There's nothing you can do. And it's like, wow, this guy's talking a lot for, he was benched by Bill O'Brien in Boston College. And it's like, you get benched and you're talking like this and
Hmm.
you haven't even played a game with FSU yet. So that shows the kind of character and the kind of confidence that he has. And I think FSU fans should be very excited about this guy because I know I was last year watching him at Boston College. So yeah, I think that's a great, underdog of the week.
All right. Okay, and then final thing before we kind of go into our NFL preview, we did have a huge trade transpire last week, and that was Micah Parsons being traded from the Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers. Mason, what are your thoughts on this trade as a Giants fan? I know you're a little excited about it, so I just want to hear your thoughts on the trade.
Yeah, I think other than the day I was born, it's probably the best day of my life.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, but I so our best buddy, Matt, he's a huge Cowboys fan, and really, it's just kind of more of like a ha thing because when Odell first got traded to the Browns, Matt was the first person to reach out to me. So Michael Parsons, obviously the best player on that team other than CD, gets traded to the Packers for a 3-year, $188 million contract. I'm gonna say something, to Matt, and I was the first person to break them news, which was my biggest, I think goal. And then I think it's gonna be pretty crazy to see a team without Micah Parsons, and it just makes that Packers defense so much better because they were good, but now they're probably gonna be even better. Hopefully he could be healthy, but I know he does have a bit of a back thing going on, so we'll see what happens. But I think it's a big loss for Dallas.
Yeah. Do you think Dallas did anything like okay with the trade? I know they got the 2 first-round picks and the defensive tackle. Like, what do you take? Do you think they needed to trade Micah Parsons, like, or do you think Jerry could have got the
No,
deal done and all of this could have been
no.
resolved?
Jerry Jones is the worst owner in NFL history. I'm gonna say that right now. Um, when you have a guy like Micah Parsons, and I can't stress this enough, the best player on your team who's been there, the staple of that team for however many years he's been in the league, just for a little, oh, you're gonna hold out. Yeah, watch this. I'm gonna trade you. And then someone says, oh, what does a player have to do, for you to give them a contract? And he's like, ask Dak. Oh yeah, ask Dak. He's sure done a lot. So
Right.
it's just crazy. So yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, yeah. I just can't believe they let a talent like Micah Parsons just go. It's crazy to see. I wasn't expecting it to happen, but it did.
No.
I was under the belief, as I'm sure a lot of people were, like, oh, this is just contract negotiations. Like, he's not actually going
Mm-hmm.
to get traded. But, Jerry Jones found a way to do the impossible, so to speak, and pull it off that trade. And, 2 first-round picks, that's an okay
It's
haul. And then
cool.
you get a defensive tackle
Yeah.
when you really needed one. But it's not Micah Parsons, and you're probably not going to find a Micah Parsons anytime soon. So, um, just a crazy trade to make right before the season, and we'll see how it works out for both teams.
All right, just to finish it off, I think the fact that he said we could potentially get a Pro Bowl player. What are we doing?
Yeah,
What
right. Exactly.
are we doing?
Yeah, that clip in the whole "we need to stop the run" clip. It wasn't a good look on Jerry Jones that week.
Oh my gosh.
All right, now we're gonna go ahead and dive into our NFL season preview. We're gonna start it out by giving our award predictions that are way too early. But get them on the books just in case one of us cooks and accidentally picks one right. So we're gonna start with MVP. Mason, who do you think is gonna be the MVP of the NFL this season?
It can go so many different ways, but man, if the defense can just do something, I think it's going to be Joe Burrow. I want it to be Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is a guy who I think, if he gets an MVP, it's going to be good for football. I don't think he has any haters, apart from AFC North teams. But man, I really would like him to get an MVP, and I think the way he capped off last year, I think he can. Like I said, if the defense can hold on. He had a very rough start and still ended up 9-8. So I think he can do it.
I also went Joe Burrow. I think he's going to have an
Mhm.
MVP season this year. He just needs the O line to help him out a little bit, and he needs the
Yeah.
defense to
Yep.
help him out, and he's going to be an MVP this year. We've seen the
Yep.
flashes, we've seen the potential, and I think it's going to come into fruition this season, and we're going to see a Joe Burrow MVP this year.
Please, Joe Burrow.
Yeah. All right, now we're going to go ahead and do Offensive Player of the Year. Who do you think is going to win that?
This can go so many different ways also, but I didn't want to double up on Bengals because I feel like that would just kind of be lame, but I could see it being Jamar Chase, but I went with Bijan Robinson. Um, I really kind of looked deeper into how he capped off last season, and I was like, man, why is he going so high in the draft and stuff, like for fantasy? And then I'm like, okay, yeah, he did do pretty well, and I think if he can kind of put up numbers that are expected of him, he could very well be Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. For me, I'm going with either Saquon or Jamar. I know it's like kind of like,
Mhm.
oh, you're just going off of last year, but
Yeah,
it kind of
yeah.
are to an extent. Um, I think Saquon's going to have just as good of a year, if not better, this season. And
Mhm.
Jamar Chase, I think we saw last year how great he was. So I really expect one of those two guys to win it. But I do like that Bijan pick a lot because
Yeah,
he is essentially that Falcons offense. I mean, I know they
he
got
is.
Drake London and Kyle Pitts,
Yeah,
but
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 come
like it's
on.
Bijan, like that's his offense. So it's going to be very
Mhm.
interesting to see how he shapes up for them this season, and he could very well win Offensive Player of the Year if given the right cards. So we'll see
Yep.
how that goes. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and do Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay. So Defensive Player of the Year, I kind of just reached a little down into the bag. I don't really have too much of a reasoning. other than the fact that I've seen good flashes and potential of this guy, and that's gonna be Jared Verse on the Los Angeles Rams. I think that if he really kind of gets into that gear and does what he did at college in like a pro level, he could be that guy to win it. He could be like a TJ Watt, like Myles Garrett kind of guy. And we saw him this offseason working with one of the greatest defensive players of all time, and Aaron Donald. And if he can be anywhere close to that, I think he's got it in the bag. But that's kind of like a whimsical kind of throw out there. But I think Jared Verse is gonna be a lot better this year. We'll see about Defensive Player of the Year. I think that's just a kind of crazy poll, but yeah, I think he'll be good this year.
All right. For me, it's all comes to if this guy can stay healthy, because like you said, he's dealing with the back issues. I'm going with Micah Parsons. I think with him
Okay.
being traded, he's going to be out for revenge this season, and going to
Yeah.
be he's getting paid more. It's the highest non-quarterback contract we've seen in
Of all
NFL
time.
history.
Yeah.
He's got to live up to that name,
Mhm.
and he knows that. So I'm really expecting him to have a huge year as long as he stays healthy. I can see him winning Defensive Player of the Year. So that's my pick.
Yeah. I like that.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and do Rookie of the Year. I'm sure we both have the same pick here.
I don't think so. Because I couldn't find like I might be forgetting somebody. I really might be forgetting somebody. But there's an offensive and a defensive rookie of the year. My offensive rookie of the year is Tyler Warren. I think he's gonna do like a Brock Bowers kind of thing that happened last year. You have questions in the quarterback room. You put up great numbers, and I think that's gonna be that. And okay, you go. I don't know what you're gonna say.
I think for Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think this is the most confident pick I've made out of this whole name thing so far. I'm most confident that this one's going to hit. It's Ashton Genty. This guy will win
No
Offensive Rookie
way.
of the Year. This guy is going to win
Behind
Offensive Rookie of the Year.
behind that O line?
Yes, he will. He will. He's going to win Offensive Rookie of the
Wow.
Year. There's a reason
I
he's going
like
top 10 in fantasy football drafts this year.
I just I love him. Don't get me wrong. We all know that I'm a big Ash Genty guy, but like the Raiders scare the crap out of me. The Raiders scare the crap out of me. So yeah, I mean I just went Tyler Warren, but for defense, I couldn't think of too many names on defense, that's for sure. And I just went Abdul Carter. I think he's shown a lot of flashes, but preseason was a little rough for him. But if he can kind of put it all together in the regular season and do what he did in college, I think he can be, defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, I went Abdul Carter for my defense as well. But man, I can't believe you're not as high on that. Genty,
I
everyone's high on Genty coming into
It's
this
I
year. I believe in
understand
him.
that, and I completely get it. It's just I have not seen in a very long time any like since Josh Jacobs any kind of rushing, goodness from that Vegas team. So unless I'm proven wrong, and I'd love to be proven wrong, don't get me wrong, but um, I don't know. I'm not confident in that Raiders O line.
All right.
I like
Well, we'll
it. I
see.
like it. But yeah, yeah.
All right. And finally, we're going to be giving our way too early Super Bowl predictions. Mason, who is going to be the Super Bowl winner this year?
The Baltimore Ravens are gonna win the Super Bowl. um, yeah,
Just a gut feeling or like reasoning behind
I
that?
think so. I think so. So, I mean, if you think about it, they didn't lose too much. They added Jair Alexander, who's going to be, very good for that secondary. And Derrick Henry, if he can kind of put up anywhere near as close of a season as he did last year, I think they'll be in great shape. And, you have Lamar Jackson, who is just going to do his thing. But it's not about questioning and getting into the playoffs. It's just figuring out and winning in the playoffs because you got to get through the
Yeah.
Bills and you got to get through the Chiefs. So I think they can do it this year. I don't know why, just kind of a feeling. I'm
See,
sick of seeing the
see,
Chiefs. I'm not gonna say them.
I'm actually expecting a Ravens decline this season. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were
Why?
last year. Derrick Henry's like 32 years old. I don't know if he's going to be able to do what
He
he
was
did last
31
year again.
last year. Yeah.
I get that, but do we expect him to just start doing this every single season as he's entering his 30s? I don't know.
No.
I can't get on
No.
that. And I
I
still just think
understand.
they're missing someone at the wide receiver position. I mean, Zay Flowers is
That's
nice and
fair.
all, but
That's
like,
fair.
is he really a true number? Like, we've seen him for a few years now. We can get a grasp on if he's a true wide receiver one or not. He's always shown flashes, but I just don't know if he's quite there yet. And I don't know. I don't think they're gonna be in the Super Bowl, that's for sure. But I think they'll still
And
be good. I just don't think they'll be as good.
yeah. So I'm not gonna use this as like your main point or anything as far as an argument, but would you say that that's big of a factor for the Bills and the Chiefs as far as lacking receiver, like a number one receiver?
I also don't think the Chiefs are gonna be as good this year. I'll throw that out
Okay,
there. And then as far as the Bills go, I kind of like Khalil Shakur more
it's
than I like
weird
Zay
with
Flowers,
them.
which I know is
Yeah.
kind of crazy to say. I know that's kind of
Oh,
crazy to say,
okay,
but I kind of
okay.
like him more than I like Zay
Yeah,
Flowers. And as much as
that's
it pains me to
interesting.
say Josh Allen is Josh Allen, and
Mhm.
so we'll really see. We'll see. But the Chiefs, I'm not as high on this year. I wasn't as high on them
That's
last year
fair.
either, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, well, I still think the Bills will be in the mix. I think it's going to be either the Ravens. I mean, I think it's going to be either
Yeah.
the Ravens or Bills to come out of the AFC this year. But I just have a feeling that the Bills will come out of the AFC. I don't know why.
Okay.
Um, but the neither of those teams I had for my Super Bowl prediction. My Super Bowl prediction is until I'm proven otherwise, the Eagles are going to win again. They're just. I'm sorry, I know, but they're just such a powerhouse. I can't pick anyone else until I see otherwise. Like I need to see something. So,
Nice.
any comment on that?
I mean, I don't know. I just didn't feel it in my gut, so I didn't say it. I don't.
Oh, you didn't feel the Eagles in your
Yeah.
gut.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll probably come back and see that we were wrong on all of those picks because that's how it goes. And
Nice. Yeah.
we're gonna go ahead and slide over to our week one predictions. Now, for those of you guys who remember who have been here for last year on Instagram and TikTok, every week we would post our predictions for who we had winning each game, and we kept track. We had a record. I obviously came off the win last year. I had the better record, so I'm looking to repeat in that regard.
We're
So
cheated.
no, here we go. Here we go with this. But for week one, we do go over every game on the episode. But after week one, you guys got to go on Instagram and TikTok to see our predictions. But we'll go ahead and get into our week one predictions right now, starting with the first game of the season, which will be the Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles. I know you're thrilled to watch that matchup. So who do you have winning that game?
Not the Cowboys.
Okay. I also have the Eagles winning that game, and I don't think it's going to be particularly close either. All right.
I don't
Second
either.
game we have is Chiefs versus Chargers.
I think this could be a closer game than people anticipate, but I still think that the Chiefs will win because NFL can't let the Chiefs lose in a primetime game.
I'm also going to go with the Chiefs there. Yeah, kind of agree with you there. Then we got Dolphins versus the Colts. My Miami Dolphins. Who you got?
Yeah, Dolphins will win. You got Daniel Jones starting. We all know how he is on week ones or just in every week of the NFL season. So, yeah, it's the best part of it.
Yeah, I'm going Dolphins as well. If they lose this week one against the Colts, I probably will be taking the week off the following week, and Mason will have to do a solo show or something.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
all right. Next game we have is Steelers versus Jets. Who do you got winning that game?
Wow, this is such a mid off.
Hmm.
I think Steelers will win. The Jets are cursed, man. I don't know. I can't see them winning.
I'm going Steelers as well. I think this Jets team is going to have one of the worst offenses in the league. So
Oh,
I'm going to go with the Steelers.
okay.
Uh, Panthers versus Jags. Battle of the Cats.
Yep. I think that the Jaguars will win. Ooh. I don't know. We'll see how the offense gels for the Panthers, but I could see the Jags winning. So I'm just gonna put Jags on paper.
I'm going Jags as well. I think that they're slightly better.
Golly.
We're agreeing on everything so far.
Yeah.
Um, next game we have is Cardinals versus Saints.
Cardinals, bro. You got Spencer Rattler starting a quarterback
Yeah.
after drafting Tyler Shuck. Get out of here.
Yep, I'm going Cardinals as well. All right, now we have Giants versus Commanders.
So for those who don't know, I'm wearing a Kenny Galladay jersey because that's the kind of season I'm expecting. Don't get me wrong, I'm very excited, but this is the exact same, reason I'm wearing this jersey for the same season that I'm expecting. I'm very excited, but I'm gonna get let down. So it's gonna be a closer game than people think, I think, but I'm still gonna put Commanders winning. Don't do that. Don't do that. We almost beat them last year in the first game, and we didn't have a kicker. That's why we lost.
Yeah, that was before never mind. Okay.
Before what?
I before Jaden
Please.
Daniels became Jaden Daniels, you know what I mean?
He's
But
always been
anyway.
Jane Daniels.
Yeah, but it takes rookies a couple
Whatever. Just
games
pick
to
the
get.
Commanders. Just pick the
I think
Commanders.
Commanders by at least 2 touchdowns will win this game.
I'll give you one, but all right.
All right. Bucks versus Falcons.
The Buccaneers will win.
As you know, I'm a big Baker Mayfield guy, so I'm going with the Buccaneers as
Yep.
well.
Golly, there's
Dark
some
horse
weak
MVP
games.
candidate this year.
I'm cool with it. I like it.
Well, not too many people were cool with it when I said that last year, but
No, they weren't.
all right. Bengals versus Browns.
The Bengals. Golly, there's some weak games.
Bengals as well for me. So we
Yeah.
have agreed on every single game so far.
This is
Uh,
ridiculous. See, this is what we did last year, everyone.
okay, but to be
I'm
fair,
kidding. I'm
week one,
kidding.
it's a
I'm
lot
kidding.
of one-sided matchups, I'd say, to
That's
kind of give some
true.
of these
That's
teams an
true.
easy 1-0 record, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
okay. Raiders versus Patriots. Maybe we'll disagree here.
I'm going Patriots.
All right, well, I'm going Patriots too, so I guess we're
Why
gonna
would why would I pick the
continue.
Raiders?
I don't know. Maybe you're feeling.
I just
Maybe you have a Raiders feeling this week. I don't know.
no. I only like Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers. Other than that,
Clearly, you don't
pick
like
off.
Ashton Genty, but
I do, but rookie of the year. Yes.
we'll see. Um, 49ers versus Seahawks.
Mm. I don't. I'm just gonna go 49ers because they still have the star power, in my opinion. But I think this could be a good game. Yeah, I could see it being a good game, but just the lack of DK, man. I don't know if JSN's gonna be able to pick that slack up. So I'm gonna go 49ers.
I'm gonna also go 49ers. The Seahawks is gonna come down to how much Cooper Kupp can provide at that wide receiver 2 role.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I just don't know if it's gonna gel necessarily week 1, so I'm gonna go with the 49ers.
Yeah, yeah. And whole new quarterback and everything too. So
Yeah, yeah. Titans versus Broncos.
Broncos will win, but I'm excited to watch that mid Titans offense. I know
Whoa,
Cam Ward
whoa.
can't carry it all. What?
According to Cam Ward,
Cam
they
Ward
got a
is
top 5 receiver room in the league.
yeah, right. Who's on that team? Tyler Lockett? Name me another player on the receiving core.
Calvin Ridley.
Oh, brother. Okay.
He's solid. He
Yes.
looked great in preseason.
Who doesn't look good in preseason?
All right. I'm not going Titans either. I'm going Broncos, but I'm excited to watch Cam Ward ball out. I don't think we're going to have a disagreement anymore. I'm looking at the rest of the games here. Lions versus Packers.
Lions.
Lions. Texans versus Rams.
I think this one will be close. They had
I
a,
think so
a
too.
good game in the wild card last year. I'm still gonna go Texans because I don't know if Matt Stafford is completely healthy.
All right, our first disagreement. I'm going Rams. So we have one
Interesting.
disagreement.
Wow.
Well, there's still 2 games left. Maybe we'll disagree. I
Yeah,
doubt it though.
yeah. These could be no.
Ravens versus Bills.
One yeah, this could be one we disagree.
Who you going with?
Dang.
Ravens or Bills?
I don't know. Hold on. Who are you going with? So I'm know who to not go
I'm
with.
going Buffalo.
I was leaning towards Ravens.
Well, you might as well stand on it. You picked them for Super Bowl winners, so
Yeah, I am. I'm standing on it. That's
all
why I
right,
said
all right.
Ravens. Just
So we
gonna go
have 2
Ravens.
disagreements so far,
Yeah.
and then finally we have Vikings versus the Bears.
Vikings. Wait, who's the quarterback? Oh yeah, JJ. Yeah, they'll still win. Yeah, they'll be all right.
I'm going Vikings
I
as
know.
well, as much as I want to pick
Yeah.
the Bears.
Why do you want to pick the
All right,
Bears?
huh?
Why do you want to pick the Bears?
I kind of like their team this year. I do. I
Okay.
think they have some. I think they're
I
on the
think
rise. I think they have a fun little team.
I think it could be interesting. Definitely better than
Yeah,
last year.
definitely.
Y- yeah, I think they have some cool additions that it'll be see because
Yeah,
they got that shoot, what was his name? Ben Johnson. That'll be cool.
yeah. Ben
So
Johnson.
yeah.
I'm excited to see what Luther Burden provides over there.
Yeah.
They got
Yep.
Loveland, the new tight end they got. They got some pieces.
They
I
still
like it.
got they still got DJ Moore, right?
Yep, they do.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
So who knows?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that's going to do it for our NFL preview. And then finally, for the preview or for NFL, I have one more thing that I got to announce. Me and Mason are going against each other in fantasy week
Oh,
1, and we
dang it.
both
I
have made
wish
a
you
bet
forgot about
off
this.
off camera. We have made a bet and agreed on. I'm not going to say what it is because it'll take away the surprise. But just know whoever loses between the two of us will have to do something that they probably don't want to do on next week's podcast. So make
Probably.
sure you're tuned in for that.
Jeez.
Okay, that's going to do it for NFL talk this week. So now we're going to go ahead and slide over to MLB. We're going to do what we do every week with MLB, and that is our player and team of the week. So, Mason, who is your player of the week for MLB?
So my player of the week is none other than Kyle Schwarber. He had a 4 home run game and 9 RBIs against the Braves last week. And on the season, he's at 49 home runs with 119 ribbies. So just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kyle Schwarber having a fantastic season. Free agent this offseason, but I'd be shocked if Phillies give him up.
Yeah.
That 4 home run game was crazy, and now he's coming in close on Cal Raleigh right now for the home run lead. So we'll see how that
Mm-hmm.
race stretches. Really we're in the last month of baseball, which is just crazy. Regular season
It's
baseball.
wild.
So we'll see how that finishes up. For my player of the week, I'm going with a guy that has not been talked about enough this season. It's Aroldis Chapman. This dude has had the best
Yeah.
season of his career, and it is absurd. 54 innings pitched with a 1 flat ERA, 77 strikeouts, and a 0.65 whip. He has 28 saves. He's just absurd. He looks like he's back in his mid-20s again. Like I don't understand how he's still pumping 102 in like his late 30s right now. It's crazy to see.
Insane.
And he really is putting together the best year of his career and a really great season in general by any closing pitcher. So
Mm-hmm.
that had to be my player of the week. I just feel like he hadn't been getting talked about enough. So now we'll go ahead and
Yep.
do our team of the week. So Mason, who's your team for this week?
Mine is the Texas Rangers. They are 9-1 in the last 10 and a game and a half back from a wild card spot behind the Seattle Mariners. So yeah, big stuff coming from them. We'll see if they can make a push.
Yeah, I like that pick. The Rangers, they've had an interesting season because towards the beginning section of the season when DeGrom
Mm-hmm.
was looking really good, Nathan Eovaldi was looking fantastic. I was like, this team could potentially make some noise. And then they were mid for like just 2 straight months where they started
Yeah.
falling back in the rankings. And I really hope that doesn't come back to bite them because I do think this is a team that can sneak in the wild card and make some noise. But they were just so bad for so long that I think it might end up costing them. But it is interesting to see them kind of turn it on. And for my team of the week, I have a team that's in a similar situation to them, only they're a little bit in a worse spot than the Rangers are, and that's the San Francisco Giants, who are 8-2 in their
Yeah.
last 10. and they're now 4 games out of the wild card. They're another team that, has had a very up and down season and really starting to turn it on. They've had 2 series wins now that have been really impressive against the Brewers and the Cubs, who are 2 of the best teams in the NL. They gave the Cubs their first sweep of the season. The Cubs had not been swept all season long until then. So, yeah, I'm going with the Giants for my team of the week. It'll be interesting to see if they can make it in the wild card or not.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then real quick, we're gonna wrap up the show with some college football talk. Week 1 has happened. Just some takeaways. It doesn't have to be numbered or anything. Just what are some of your takeaways after this last week of college football?
Yeah, so I just kind of have 3 quick ones. The Florida teams are hot right now, man. They had a great weekend. Huge wins from Miami, FSU, and UCF or USF, and then not to mention Florida and UCF won. Granted, UCF barely beat a high school team, and Florida, laid the hammer on one. But Miami getting a huge win against Notre Dame, FSU getting a huge win against Bama, and USF beating Boise State. Just great wins for Florida. And then the next one is a lot of big names in college football this weekend looked rough. I'm not gonna, dwell too much on it, but Arch Manning had a rough weekend against, the number 1 team, or who should have been the number 1 team in Ohio State. Jeremiah Smith with 2 drops, and then Ryan Williams 3 drops, and Cade Klubnik, who had also had a pretty rough game against LSU. So that was something to kind of keep an eye on for this week. We'll see what kind of happens throughout the next weeks, and then. Man, Alabama, this just hurts, watching football, just college football for as much as I have. They should be ashamed of themselves. DeBoer, he's never going to fill Saban's shoes, but, I think he could be doing a much better job just seeing some of the hustle on some of those defensive plays where, the FSU receivers or running backs are just sprinting down the field and they're just jogging. So, it's just – it's weird to be in a college football, season where no one's scared of Bama. It's like, man, who's this quarterback? I've never heard of him. He's been a bench player for 3 years now, and it's like you really couldn't get at anybody in the transfer portal. So it's just wild to think of. But yeah, those are my quick takeaways.
All right, I like them. I have just 4 quick ones. I'm not as big into college football as you, so I'm not going to rant as long.
Mm-hmm.
The first one being Arch Manning looked rough. That's just the best way to
Yeah.
put it. It looked like the moment was too big for him. I'm not pulling the plug on him. I still think he'll probably end up winning Heisman and having like a fantastic season. But there's no denying that he looked pretty brutal in that first week.
Absolutely.
Second point is FSU is back. Obviously, they had a terrible season last year and then the undefeated season the season before. And beating Alabama, you have to say they're back after a win like that.
Yeah.
That's my second point. My third point is Carson Beck looks like he's ready to go for the Miami Hurricanes. I was a little hesitant when I saw him going over there. I was like, I don't know. The Cam Ward, that's some big shoes to fill. I don't know if he'll be able to do it, but he looked really good in week 1 against Notre Dame. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of his season unfolds. And my final takeaway is Boise State looks like nothing without Ashton Genty. Like you were saying earlier,
100%.
I don't understand how they were even ranked in the first place. And they got proven just that by how bad they looked in week 1. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, so that's pretty much going to wrap up this episode. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, and hit the notifications because we are posting more than ever right now. I just posted the first ever Cubs Sports Report episode. I know Mason's planning on doing New York Sports Report this week.
Yeah, that'll be out. That'll be out Friday.
That'll be out Friday, and I'm also planning on doing a Miami Dolphins video for Miami Sports Report. That will probably be around Thursday, Friday, one of those days as well. So make sure you guys are looking out for those videos. We're excited to do them. And that's pretty much going to wrap up this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of GM Sports Report, where every play counts. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see our weekly episodes on all things sports. For additional content, check the description, see links to our Instagram and TikTok account. This is Grant and Mason signing off for now. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you, guys.